Okay, so this is Emelong Metropolitan Park, or City Park as it used to be called. It's the main loop, which is about a 6-mile loop. We rode it in March of 2018 in Austin, Texas. This part right here, the part I just went up and then I'm going down right now, is the start of the trail. I guess it's sort of the gnarly start of the trail. Most people go to the left here, like you just saw just there just a second ago. We talked to a guy before we went and rode it, and he said that that's what most people did, was went over that way. I just wanted to see what going up that little boulder field was like. It was pretty fun. Turned back around, we went up the normal loop. So this is a really long video. I think it's about 35 minutes or so. It is the entire loop, which according to the documentation, the main loop is 5 miles, although we reset our odometers and we counted closer to 6 miles. We did have a little bit of a detour, but I don't think it was more than a couple of 100 yards. Talking to the guy who was telling us about the trail that we met out at the park, he said basically once you go down what we just went down, you're kind of committed to riding the trail. So I was a little bit nervous at first, just because we'd heard so much about how rough it is and how nasty it is. You read the information on the website, and it's almost like they're trying to scare you away from it. But we found that it really wasn't that bad. It was actually a lot of fun. This is spring break of 2018, and we rode GSL Ranch, Emelong, which is what this is, and CTOR. And I'd say of the three, this is probably my favorite. CTOR was pretty good too, and of course the GSL was good too, but of the three, this is probably my favorite. We took our time. We didn't ride very fast. We stopped a lot. I say the entire time that we were out on the trail was maybe an hour and a half, maybe an hour and a half, somewhere in there. And the video was about 30 minutes, 35 minutes, something like that. So we did stop quite a bit and talked about things and all that kind of stuff. Not so much about the trail. We kind of get through a section and go, wow, that was pretty cool, and stuff like that. See, we're riding pretty slow. When we finished it, Rochelle said something to the effect that it was just enough to get your adrenaline going, but not so much that it would hurt you, which I think is a pretty good description. The dirt out here was, well, as you can see, it's mostly not dirt, it's mostly rock. Where there was dirt, it seemed kind of loose to me, like I would slide around a lot. I don't know if it's been a while since they've had any rain, and if that, you know, would get a little bit better traction. When you had a little bit of moisture, it probably would. I don't know what it would do to the rocks, but there was also, most of this is limestone. I think it's limestone, but there was a lot of granite mixed in too, which actually made for really good traction on the rocks. A lot better than I thought it would have been. Okay, right here you can see the little sign on the tree that I just passed. There it is right there. It's got a single diamond and a double diamond. This is the double diamond side, probably because of that part right there. But the trail would split on occasion into a single diamond and a double diamond, and it's not a separate trail. It's just, as expected, it's just an easier way around an obstacle and a harder way around the obstacle. Rochelle over there just took the single diamond, mostly because she had already passed the point where she could do the double and didn't feel like turning the bike around. But I couldn't say that the single diamond was all that much easier than the double diamond. We took mostly double diamonds when we were riding this. Occasionally we would miss one, but we kind of, you know, we'd look at it and say, okay, yeah, we can do that. And some of it we could, some of it we couldn't. Obviously, when you're riding this stuff, momentum is a key. I used to complain about stuff like that, where somebody in front of me would slow down or whatever, then it would throw me off, and I used to be like, oh man, you messed me up, you know. I mean, I would have made that, but I lost my momentum. Well, I kind of embrace that now, as riding behind somebody who's a little bit slower actually I think makes you a better rider, because you kind of have to adjust to things, you know. You have to kind of improve your skill. You have to be able to do things slower, take alternate lines, and so forth. I usually ride in the back or behind somebody because I'm usually have the GoPro going and I want to try to get footage of it. I like having a rider in front because I think it gives you a better perspective of what the trail is like, as opposed to just riding over it. Some of it, you know, you can go over stuff, and if you just blast over it on one wheel, it's not going to look like it's very gnarly. But with the rider in front of you, you can kind of see the different things that they're going through. So like I said, if anybody's still watching at this point, the video is pretty long. I'm going to just kind of make some commentary throughout it, different sections and stuff. I'll probably do another video on Emma Long that will, you know, be my typical 2-minute, 3-minute video. Maybe have a little overall review of the park. If you like ledges and you like rocks, you're going to love Emma Long. And I happen to kind of like both of those things. Talk about the bikes here for a second. I am on a 2016 KTM XCW 300 XCW 6 days, and Rochelle is on a 2016 Freeride 250R. Her bike has been lowered slightly, and she has a low seat on it, which is really good because it gives her a lot of confidence being able to put her feet down if she needs to, but not really compromising ground clearance all that much. I think that bike still, even though it's been lowered, I don't know, maybe half an inch to an inch, I think it still has more ground clearance than my bike does. Tires, I was running a Scorpion, I can't remember the number on it, but it's like, I think it's called a mid-soft or mid-hard, I can't remember. That's the front tire. Rochelle has the same front tire. My rear tire is a Kenda Ibex, which is really awesome for this kind of terrain. I love that tire. Her tire is the Shinko 525 cheater, which is the newer cheater, the one with the wider spaced lugs. Seems to be a really good tire too. I might try that tire next time. I love my Ibex, but it wears out pretty quick. Her cheater seems to be lasting a little longer. Of course, she doesn't quite ride as often as I do, and her bike is obviously lighter, and she's obviously lighter. But this section here, man, she just ruled that section. She went right up it. She did that better than I did. I think I made a comment of that after I get to the top. This is kind of a new way for me to do a video. I'm basically... little mishap there.
Okay.
As I say, a little bit of a different way of doing the video. Basically, I've created the video. I'm sitting here watching it and have a microphone and narrating over it. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how many people actually watch this whole thing. I'll probably get comments. Great video, but shut up. Although there's no music. Some people don't like the music in my videos. This is all pretty much just raw GoPro footage. Like I said, it took us about a little over an hour to ride the whole thing, and the video is about 35 minutes or so. You know, there was times that we would stop and we'd continue talking. I forget to turn the GoPro off, and obviously I cut a lot of that stuff out. So if you rode it non-stop, kind of slow like we're riding, then it'll take you about, probably half hour to 45 minutes to do the main loop. There's a lot more out here. You'll see it probably a little bit later in the video, but when I was looking at the map of Emelong the other day, I noticed it had these little marks for all the different trials areas, and there's a lot of areas that look like they'd be great for a trials bike. Would be fun on an enduro bike too.
Dang it! I did not attack that.
She did not attack that. She's learning momentum is the key. And I fell in the same place. Guess I didn't attack it either. When we were riding here, we stayed at the Emelong Metropolitan Park, which was maybe a couple miles further down the road from where the motorcycle trails are. It was good for this. It's probably not the best camping area. I mean, it's basically an RV park where, you know, you've got people camp right next to you. There's tent sites too, but they're right there, you know, right there next to you. So not a lot of privacy, not a lot of, you know, it was on a Lake Austin. That was pretty cool, being right there on the lakefront. But we kind of we prefer going out places where you can kind of dry camp, get back in there, and, you know, nobody around, and kind of have the place to yourself. This was kind of like I won't say a trailer park, but I mean, kind of like a trailer park. But Rochelle has a pop-up camper, a little pop-up A-frame camper with a deck on the front that we put the bikes on, and the thing is really awesome. It's really great, so it was convenient for that. The park itself was nice, but man, they like their rules. I guess you have to have rules, but sometimes it's a little frustrating. You try to call up there and they try to give you information, and basically they don't give you any information. They just tell you what all you can't do. I'm sure there's a purpose for that. I'm sure people abuse it and they have to do that, but it's a little frustrating. I was just wanting to find out if they had a campsite. Okay, here's another single diamond versus double diamond. Okay, wish me luck. I'll wait until you see the anticipation to see whether I make it or not. And nope, didn't make that. Ignore that expletive. Rochelle made it. She went around the single diamond side. I was going to go back and try that again, but I thought, why push my luck? It was rather warm. This was, I think, March 13th, something like that. And it was actually pretty warm, close to 80 degrees this day. When you were out in the sun like this, it was pretty warm, but it was actually not bad in the trees. There's a lot of cedar trees and a lot of shade, which kept the temperature down. I mean, I wasn't too hot. warm in Texas is relative. 80 is actually cool. That's something Rochelle is working on now. She's working on a compressing her forks along with slipping the clutch to get over obstacles. As you can see, she actually did that better than I did again. Hear the excitement in my voice. She's all like, "Woohoo, you made it!" And I was like, "Yeah." That kind of sucked for me. I'm really not a very good rider. I'm a decent C rider, I guess. But I do like rocks and stuff like this. But one thing that seems like it's helped me a lot is, like I said earlier, riding behind somebody. Right here, we actually missed the trail. If you can look right there, the trail goes to the right.
I don't think that was the trail, but
we went, I don't know, maybe 50 yards down the trail, turned around and came back. We jumped back on, and right there, missed it, there was a number 3 on the sign there, which we were at the 3-mile marker. So really as far as the video goes, I only missed about maybe 10 feet of trail right there from where we went up the lip and then came back down.
oh,
I didn't know if it turned or went straight.
yeah, I think it goes straight. I've had a few people ask me about Rochelle's bike and how she likes it. She loves it. She rode a KX 125, I think, several years ago. Didn't really ride it a lot. It was mostly only on like a motocross type track. So she knows how to ride a bike, but really has just learned everything in the last year and a half since we met. And as you can see, she's riding really, really well. She started off with a XT, with a Yamaha XT 250, which was not the right bike. Pretty soon after she got that, she sold it and bought this free ride. Like I said, the free ride's been lowered. She's 5'7", and the fact that it's been lowered a little bit, has a lower seat, it's given her a lot of confidence being able to put her feet down. She's actually probably ready to go to a full-size enduro bike, but she really likes the free ride. A lot of power, a lot of torque. I mentioned the tires that we were running. Air pressure, both bikes are running 10 in the front and 9 in the back. No tubeless or bibs or anything like that. We just have slime in there, which obviously isn't going to help you with the pinch flat, but I've been pretty lucky. I have yet to get a pinch flat running that tire pressure, so but I try not to just plow into any ledges. I try to lift my front end over them and then lighten up my rear tire whenever the back wheel comes over them. But I'm sure it's inevitable. This little downhill section here is actually gnarlier than it looks on the video. I think she had a little bit of a scare there at the end.
Holy crap.
Was that holy crap?
Jeez.
It was a holy crap Jesus moment. I did notice that seemed like to me like there were more ledges going down than coming up, which is probably why the trail runs this direction, I would guess. This trail is, real quick, you can kind of see to the left there. I think that might be one of those trials areas that they were talking about. There was all kinds of that stuff. We just kind of stuck to the main loop the whole time, just wanting to get that done. But I think you could definitely come out here and spend a lot of time just kind of messing around all the different areas and so forth. All that stuff over to the left looks like it'd be really good if you like that sort of thing. But as I was saying before I got distracted by the trials area, this park is designed for motorcycles and mountain bikes. And I know a while back, I don't know if it was the city was trying to shut it down or parts of it down or something like that. I remember I signed a petition, even though I'd never been there, saying, you know, keep it open. I want to go there and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know where that stands now. I'll have to look and see where it stands. But I'm not sure why people would want to get rid of it. It is kind of in the, you know, I won't say the middle of town, but you know, right there. But I tell you one thing, if you ride a mountain bike over this, you're pretty badass. Especially going up the ledges. I don't know, maybe they come out there and they walk up the ledges and then ride down them. It's like I said, it seemed like there was a lot more down ledges than up ledges. But obviously, if you're making a loop, you're going to gain as much elevation as you're going to drop. So, all I know is if you are riding this on a mountain bike, you're a pretty good mountain bike rider. Maybe I just don't know enough about mountain bike riding. I did it for a while. I was never very good at it. Hills that looked like I was going to need a lot of momentum on, so I kind of waited for her to get ahead of me a little bit. The 300 tends to overheat a lot more than my 200 did, especially when you're riding slow. This was pretty slow riding, and it was a little bit warm today, the day that we were riding this. But and I don't know that it was necessarily overheating, but I bought a fan for it, and I don't know, not too long after I bought the fan, within a couple of months, the thermostat went out on it, or whatever it is, it tells it to turn on and off. I had it set for 200 degrees, and it stopped working. I messed with it and could not figure out how to fix it, so I just ended up putting a manual switch on it so I can just turn it on, especially if I get, like, we're out at Red River and we get in some gnarly little ravine, you know, that we're going 3 miles an hour in. I basically just reach over and turn the fan on. Here a little bit later in this video, you'll see I try to turn the fan on while I'm riding, and which is a big mistake. Almost, when I did, I rolled the throttle and kind of whiskey throttled into a tree. Didn't hit it, but it was kind of a scary moment. That's when I decided to never do that again. Wait till I stop the bike to turn it on, even if it's blowing smoke out or steam. I don't remember what my clicks are on my forks, but I know I run my suspension pretty soft because most of the stuff I ride is generally kind of rocky like this, so I tend to run the suspension pretty soft. So obviously something like this you're going to want to soften it up a little bit. Concho is coming up here in about a month. It's kind of similar to this. Soften up the suspension on that right there. There it's like riding on marbles a lot of times. I don't know if I'd rather ride over marbles, baseballs, or baby heads. I guess baby heads if they're made out of granite. Pretty good traction on granite. Texas slick rock. There's where I whiskey throttled.
That was stupid. I had to turn my fan on. Put the whiskey throttle in.
That's how I need to turn it on all the time.
Boy, I went to turn my fan on, and when I did, I whiskey throttled it and almost ran into a tree.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was scary.
I always ride real timid after something like that happens. It takes me a minute or two to kind of get back in the flow of things. kind of getting fairly close to the end of the trail now. I kind of think we were supposed to ride over all those rocks. It looked like kind of like a conservation type thing. said, we stayed at the campground, Metropolitan Park camping area, and camped there and just rode our bikes to here, to the motorcycle area. Okay?
Yeah.
And both of our bikes are street legal, but we didn't have our license plates with us, so we, I think it might be pretty common though for people to camp in the park and then ride their bikes over. It's not too far, it's like maybe a mile or so, something like that. But we would never do anything like that, ride our dirt bikes on the street without our license plates. So I don't know how we got over here. I can't remember. I do not recollect how we got here. Looks like we're about to wrap it up. I think we're going to be coming out into the parking area here in a minute or two. So anyway, if you want to ride out here at Emelong, I highly recommend it. It was a lot of fun. Other than just this main loop, there's a ton of other stuff you can kind of play around with. Even in the parking area, there's all kinds of stuff rocks to jump over and trails that bust up in and out. And to the I guess as you pull in to the left, there's a lot of little ledges over there, some trails over there that are kind of, I guess people call them the warm-up areas before you head into this. Ride those trails over to the left of the parking lot as you pull in, and then the main trail is here to the right. It's definitely worth the trip down to Austin. You know, we camped, like I said, we camped at the campground. Yeah, here's the end of the trail right here. We camped at the campground and then rode over here to the park. We were able to go into Austin. We ate at Trudy's, and then South by Southwest was going on, so we went down and went into downtown and hung out down there for a little while, listened to some music, saw some new bands. So if you want to take a little dirt bike trip down to Austin, plan a couple days, come out here to Emelong, hang out in Austin, and just have fun. As Bill and Ted would say, party on, dudes, and be excellent to each other. Out.
We survived Emelong. Double black.
Woohoo!
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop.